All right, well, I think now is as good a time as any to maybe open up the floor to questions. I see a lot of curious faces out there. Sasha, you don't know? You don't have any questions? No, but I think, covered a lot of topics. Happy to answer any questions the audience has. Or like, I don't know. Oh, there we go.
This might be a kind of a stupid question from a person who's not that much familiar with the Oracle space, to be honest. This is the only application of DLT technology I'm not that much familiar with. However, which actual business use cases of implementation Oracle within the, for instance, data infrastructure of some social technological system may be existing right now and that might be applicable?
I didn't understand your question, sorry.
Yeah, I get it.
One more time. I'll just rephrase it. In most of the panels that I joined throughout this week, most of the buzz was about the mass adoption. Therefore, mass adoption comes with actual use cases of the technologies we're working on. Therefore, since I'm not that much familiar with this specific results of development, which is an Oracle, how I can, for instance, as a business consultant, tell my business clients that if you implement this specific thing, what kind of a benefit and for which industry this benefit will be existing, in your opinion, if that might be the question for the current panel.
I mean, I think oracles are only powering innovation, right? So we bring data on chain, and the use cases is not based on the oracle. It's what's other DeFi protocols, GameFi protocols, or whatever use cases they invent that will supposedly bring mass adoption, not the oracle system itself. The oracle is one part of infrastructure that powers it, but I don't think mass adoption will come through Oracle, if that was the question.
Yeah, I'd say, like, if I look at Vega, which is my project, for example, we rely on oracles in order to settle derivatives trades on chain in a decentralized way, and we believe there's a business case for mass adoption of fully decentralized derivatives trading. We believe it can replace untrustworthy centralized exchanges, and we believe eventually it can be competitive in terms of fees, costs, especially costs of creating new markets and long tails with even traditional finance. I think the thing about oracles and where OEV is a big part of that is, if you think about like Web 2 and a database, if you have a database and you use a slow interpreted language, and so you need like 300 servers to do a very small, simple application, that affects the costs, it affects the business case, and it affects the growth. I think with oracles, it's sort of the same. What you're trying to do here is create something that is trustworthy in terms of the data and efficient in terms of the cost of operating, so that the overall cost of the thing that's built that requires an oracle, such as Vega or other protocols out there, is low enough, and the trustworthiness of the data coming out and the behavior of the protocol is such that adoption can be achieved. So it's really like providing a core component of these protocols and doing it in an efficient way that actually works.
I think we have one more in the back here, yeah.
Hey, so yeah, just like diving a little bit more into what maybe from a protocol design point of view OEV may bring. Obviously, we're seeing, GMX and Chainlink's low latency oracles start to impact UX there for traders. What do you think may happen over, maybe the medium to long term as OEV starts to maybe materialize and protocols consider how they can maybe deliver new services or features, etc.?
Yeah, so I think like the future is making Oracle latency arbitrage impossible, and then auctions are the best way to capture whatever's still left. So this can be an auction implemented by the protocol itself, although that's never really going to be a full solution, because if it's only implemented at the protocol, there are problems with having on-chain auctions, and if there's no solution within the Oracle, then you'll always still be left with some type of block space auction alongside the protocol on-chain auction. So you don't typically want to stack two auctions on top of each other like that. It gets kind of complicated. So I think an auction hosted by the Oracle off-chain is like the final solution here for things like liquidations.
I just want to say OEV is not necessarily completely negative. I agree with your statement earlier about liquidations. Like, I feel like it can make something more efficient. But yeah, where we're going to end up in, I don't know, man.
And I think those liquidation bots, those OEV searchers, like in the market, they are really smart. So as long as there are like opportunities, they can utilize it. Always figure out a way to do it. So make the market efficient. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that one of the things that, sort of similar vein to those last 2 points is that one of the downside, like if you think about OEV from a trader's point of view, it's basically adding to your spread or your cost. Your spread plus your fee plus things you lose to OEV when you get liquidated or whatever else, like it's all adding to your cost of trading. And I think in the early history of blockchains, you have a lot of volatility in that cost. Fees are volatile, liquidations are volatile, lots of things move around in different ways that are difficult to predict. And as a trader, that's kind of horrible. You kind of want to know my cost of trading is like 20 basis points and it's always the same. And so I think, if OEV can help with something, it's basically kind of OEV becomes ingrained enough and liquid enough, if you like, within the protocols that kind of cost is kind of known and it's kind of standard, and it creates a more predictable system because you've got these OEV searches actually making the liquidations happen at the right time and at the right price. So I think that's the ideal, is that these sort of things converge on a predictable, understandable system that is attractive to users.
Any more questions?
Hi. So thank you for the interesting conversation. And what I wanted to ask was like, so basically, as you mentioned, in terms of like price discovery, like liquidity matters, kind of obvious. So that's why like we're kind of relying on the plaistows from like CFIs right now. But what I was wondering was, so like, will there be like any future where we can do like proper discovery based on on-chain data, like let's say take the case of saturation, that kind of thing. So that's like the thing I was wondering. Thanks.
I think that's the dream, right? I don't think anybody was expecting to be completely dependent on centralized exchanges to actually set prices. But they are, they're easy to use, and people generally, once a coin is listed on a centralized exchange, when people flock to it, it's very hard to do price discovery outside of it. But yeah, I think that would be the optimal case. How are we gonna get there? I don't know, guys. Your homework, you guys, at the DeFi protocol. So.
Yeah, I mean, for any asset that's significantly liquid and there aren't regulatory implications of centralized exchanges being able to list it, unfortunately, all of that price discovery is happening like just on Binance, pretty much. And there are just a lot of inefficiencies with blockchains that cause this to be true, such as long block times and
gas prices. It's cheaper to exchange on a centralized exchange.
Yeah, it's just
also get attacks, sandwich attacks.
It's just too constrained of an environment on chain. That's why you see AMMs being so popular. AMMs are just, in today's environment, just way more inefficient than order books. And there's a reason why the traditional finance has used order books for years and years, because it works and it provides the best execution possible. So a lot of smart people are working on making AMMs more efficient for users. And as we scale more and gas costs go down and throughput can go up, maybe we can implement order books on chain. And yes, that's the future we all want. And I think it's coming. A lot of very smart people are working on it, and we're trending in the right direction.
Either that or regulators just cut everybody off. And then we have to do price discovery on chain.
Yeah, it's here. We have the order books. As I think, we're very, very close. With Vega, we have on-chain order books. We have fees that'll be same order of magnitude as centralized exchanges. Still a bit to do performance-wise, throughput-wise, security-wise before you can say this is on par. But I think Vega's not the only one doing that. Look at DYDX v4. Look at Injective, look at all the other people, who say many smart people working on this. I think the kind of app chain and faster blockchain and side chain and L2 type, order book like solutions will get us there. And I think, next 1 to 2 years will be interesting.
All right, so I think we are out or over time. But hey, thanks so much to all the panelists and to everyone for their great questions. And yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, John.